of boards and commissions, which have reached about 100, and some large increase in the number of people on the public payrolls, all of which was necessarily accompanied with a much larger cost of state governments that had to be met by collecting more revenue from the taxpayers. The people began to realize that something was wrong and began to wonder whether more laws, more regulations, and more taxes were really any benefit to them. They were becoming tired of agitation, criticism, and destructive policies, and wished to return to constructive methods. When I went home at the end of 1915, at the 1915 session, it was with the intention of remaining in private life and giving all my attention to the law. During the winter, the lieutenant governor had announced that he would seek the nomination for governor, which caused some mention of me as his successor. But I was president of the Senate, and I did not propose to impair my usefulness in that position by involving it in any effort to secure some other office. So I gave the matter no attention. A very estimable man who had done much party service and was a brilliant platform speaker had already become a candidate. But although my record in the general court was that of a liberal, business interest turned to me. In this, they were not alone, as the event disclosed to the people I seemed in some way that I cannot explain to represent confidence. When the situation became apparent to me, I went to Boston and made the simple statement in the press that I was a candidate for lieutenant governor without any reasons or any elaboration. It was at this time that my intimate acquaintance began with Mr. Frank W. Stearns. I had met him in a casual way for a year or two, but only occasionally. In the spring, he had suggested that he would like to support her for lieutenant governor. He was a merchant of high character and very much respected by all who knew him, but entirely without experience in politics. He came as an entirely fresh force in public affairs, unhampered by any of the animosities that usually attach to a veteran politician. It was a great compliment to me to attract the interest of such a man, and his influence later became of large value to the party in the Commonwealth and nation. I always felt considerable pride of accomplishment in getting the active support of men like him. While Mr. Stearns always overestimated me, he nevertheless was a great help to me. He never obtruded or sought any favor for himself or any other person. His whole effort was always disinterested and entirely devoted to assisting me when I indicated I wished him to do so. It is doubtful that if any other public man ever had so valuable and unselfish a friend. My activities were such that I began to see more of the Honorable W. Murray Crane. When he came to Boston, he was accustomed to have me at breakfast in his rooms at the hotel. Although he had large interests about which there was a constant legislation, he never mentioned the subject to me or made any suggestion about any of my official actions. Had I sought his advice, he would have told me to consult my own judgment and vote for what the public interest required without any thought of him. He confirmed my opinion as to the value of silence, which avoids creating a situation where one would otherwise not exist, and the bad taste and the danger of arousing animosities and advertising an opponent by making any attack on him. In all political affairs, he had a wonderful wisdom, and in everything he was preeminently a man of judgment, who was the most disinterested public servant I ever saw, and the greatest influence for good government with which I ever came in contact. What would I not have given to have had him by my side when I was president? His end came just before the election of 1920.
Is Brady Carlson here? If not, who would like to read?